On the eve of the great festival of the ancestors, the Benin Kingdom lay bathed in golden torchlight. The grand shrine of the Orisha stood silent, its bronze plaques glittering under the flickering flames of oil lamps. At its heart rested the Ide bronze mask, an artifact of immeasurable power, believed to house the spirit of an ancient warrior blessed by the gods. A figure moved through the shadows, his breathing controlled, his footsteps silent against the temple floor. Wrapped in a leopard skin sash, his darkened war paint blended with the night. He was Obafemi, the most feared warrior of the Egba clan, sent by their ruthless leader, Aziengbe, to steal the sacred mask. As his fingers brushed the artifact, an unnatural gust of wind swept through the shrine, snuffing out the lamps. The carved faces of past kings seemed to glare down at him in judgment. For a brief moment, the mask paused, almost as if resisting, but Obafemi grit his teeth, snatched it from the altar, and disappeared into the night. Far away in the royal palace of Benin, Nosareme, a young warrior, jolted awake. A chilling whisper filled his ears. The ancestor had spoken. Something sacred had been taken, and war was coming. Morning broke with the blast of war horns. The great palace of the Egba was alive with tension. Within its vast courtyard, war generals, nobles, and spiritual leaders gathered, their faces grim. Oba Osage, ruler of the Benin, sat upon his ivory throne, his hands adorned with layers of coral beads, his expressions unreadable. The theft of the Ide bronze mask is more than an insult. It is an act of war, the Oba declared. The spirits are angry, and ancestors watch. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, but Nosareme felt unease, coiled within him. He had spent years training as a warrior, but this was far different, darker, unnatural. The Yalashe, the high priestess, stepped forward. Her voice, usually steady, wavered. The Orisha has spoken to me in restless dreams. If the mask is not returned, Benin will bleed. Oba Osage turned to his warriors. Prepare for battle. Nosareme gripped his spear, his pulse quickening. Deep inside, he knew this war would not be fought with weapons alone. That night, sleep eluded Nosareme. The weight of an unseen force pressed upon him, pulling him into a world beyond reality. He found himself in a vast golden landscape where the air shimmered with the energy of unseen spirits. Before him stood a towering figure, the Orisha Olokun, deity of the deep waters. His voice rolled like distant thunder. Nosareme, son of warriors, you must reclaim what has been stolen. Olokun's gaze bore into him. The mask holds the spirit of an ancient protector. If it falls into darkness, so too will your people. Vision swelled before Nosareme's eyes. Villages burning, warriors falling, the sky turning black as Odejimi raised the stolen mask high, his body crackling with unnatural power. The spirit's voices grew distant, their whispers fading into silence. Nosareme gasped and awoke. Drenched in sweat, his path was clear. He was not just a warrior, he was chosen. The two armies met at dawn on the open plains, beneath a sky stained red by the rising sun. The Benin warriors, their shields polished and their war tunics gleaming, stood in formation, their expressions hardened. Opposite them, the Egba warriors loomed like a storm, their bodies painted in ominous patterns, their weapons crude but deadly. At the center of the enemy's ranks stood Odejimi, the mask now resting upon his face. His eyes glowed with an unnatural light, his voice deeper, as though two beings spoke as one. You fight a battle you cannot win, he bellowed, raising his sword. With a cry, the Egba warriors surged forward, spears clashing against shields, swords met flesh, and the air filled with the cacophony of battle. Nosareme cut his way through the chaos, his mind set on one goal, reaching Odejime. The two warriors locked eyes across the battlefield. Odejime smirked, his power radiating from the mask. "You are too late," he sneered. "The spirits are mine now." But Nosareme felt something stir within him, a power that was not of darkness but of light. The Orisha had not abandoned him, they had been waiting. As Nosareme rushed forward, Odejime unleashed a wave of energy, sending warriors flying. But Nosareme held firm, gripping his spear. He closed his eyes, feeling the whispers of the ancestors guiding him. Suddenly, a fierce wind tore through the battlefield, and the mask on Odejime's face flickered, its powers wavering. The Orisha's voice echoed in Nosareme's mind. With one swift motion, Nosareme hauled his spear. It sliced through the air, piercing the mask and shattering its enchantment. Odejime let out a scream, his body convulsing as the spirits he had tried to enslave turned against him. With one final agonizing cry, he fell. The battlefield fell silent. The Egba warriors, now leaderless, dropped their weapons and fled. Nosareme stood amidst the fallen, his breath heavy. The war was over, but his journey was not. He knelt and picked up the bronze mask, now lifeless but still sacred. The ancestors are at peace, came Iyalashe's voice behind him. "You have restored balance." Under the light of the full moon, the royal priests gathered in the sacred grove. Nosareme stood at the center, the mask held high. The trees swayed as if alive, and the spirits of the ancestors appeared, warriors, kings, and the protectors of old. A gentle wind stirred the earth, and the voice of Olokun resonated through the night. "Well done, child of Benin." The mask paused once more before settling into silence. Its power was no longer corrupted. It had been returned to its rightful place. Nosareme exhaled. He had entered this war as a soldier, but he would leave it as something greater. He was not just a warrior. He was now a guardian of the ancestors.